Harry Connick Jr., what a privilege and a pleasure to be chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure. It's really nice to talk with you.
This new album, Alone with My Faith, it's quite an exciting shift in comparison to some of your back catalogue. The first lyrics we hear are, "My world has changed." What is that you're talking about there?
I was just writing about how strange it was to be in lockdown with information that, it was constantly changing and we didn't really know where we were headed. So I had some time off and I was going to record some gospel songs because I had always wanted to make a gospel album. But then I started thinking maybe I should write a little bit more broadly and include the whole idea of faith and what it means at a time like we're in right now.
And you are taking us into quite a personal space, literally where you are alone with your faith. Why was now the time that you wanted to show more of that side of yourself?
Well, I've always shown it. I mean, I've done, songs like How Great Thou Art and Just a Closer Walk with Thee my whole life. So, and people have asked me over the years in interviews, if I'm a person of faith, and I've always proudly said, yes, I am. But a gospel album was something that was on the to-do list and I just hadn't done it yet. So this seemed like a good time to focus in on that.
Yeah, it's one of those positives of the pandemic that it's given a lot of people space to do these things that maybe have always been on the back burner. And faith is something that tends to be quite personal to everybody. What does your faith mean to you?
My faith means, so much to me. It is a gift, I think, that has allowed me to navigate through some tough times. It's the belief in something that I can't necessarily see or even understand. But it's a gift for me to be able to get peace from the idea that there's someone else in control. There's another higher being in control, and for me that's God. The song Alone with My Faith and the album Alone with My Faith, although I'm Christian, I think transcends Christianity. At least that was the intent, because I wanted people of all faiths to be able to feel like we have something in common here.
Right, and I think it absolutely does, because it's a song, at least when I listen to it, that just gives you peace and just gives you perspective when everything around you really is kind of shifting. And for those that are familiar with your upbringing, we know your mom was Jewish, your dad was Catholic. When did faith become something that mattered to you personally and wasn't just part of the environment you were raised in?
It was both. It was a part of the environment I was raised in, but it was also something that's been important to me for a long time, just because I've had to call upon it. I mean, my mother died when I was 13, and that was something that I think my faith helped me get through. And as I got older, I found myself spending a lot of time in prayer, calling upon my faith to help navigate through some tough times. So it's always been a big part of my life.
And you seem to have handled the time in, I say isolation, but you were there with your instruments, your music, your family, getting to create this project. That time alone can be really confronting for people, whether it's just because you don't have friends around or you've just got more space for your thoughts to be running wild. What did that time last year where you were more isolated, what did it do to you personally?
Well, there was a lot of opportunity for my thoughts to run wild. I mean, I got an album out of it because, there were times when I felt, hey, we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this, all good. Other times I was like, what is happening? There were people in my life that were dying, not to mention the whole world, was just seemed to be going nuts. There was all of this turmoil in the United States, no matter what your political beliefs are. It was just, seemed like every day something else was going on that led to a lot of uneasy feelings. So when I retreated to my studio, there was no one there. It was me and the instruments and the microphones. And so it really gave me a chance to dig pretty deep and come out with some things that I'm not sure I would have discovered had this not happened.
You do share a lot of yourself, and this album is maybe, I wouldn't say more vulnerable than your others, because I think you do also share a lot of yourself on those ones. But I've heard you say that it's like a journal. You're literally opening yourself up to the world and hoping that they respond positively. Do you ever fear being that vulnerable, particularly on this album that does have so much more of a spiritual side to it? Are you ever afraid to show so much of who you are?
That's a great question. And, I'm not. I guess that's one of the benefits of being an artist is that, even amid the doubt and insecurity that I may possess, I was never really afraid whether people would like it or not. That's not to presume that everybody's going to like it. I'm okay with the fact that, it may not be for everyone.
It's good that you've got that feeling of being comfortable with what people's responses will be, because I know not every artist has that. So I think it shows an amazing maturity, and I think reflects the fact that you've been doing what you do for so long now, and you've got such an incredible back catalogue, whether it's as an artist, as a TV host, as an actor, all of these things. You've done so much, and I think you've got such a strong work ethic, clearly, to be able to do it. Where does that work ethic come from for you?
I think it comes from my mom and dad. I mean, I saw them work really hard. My sister, who's about 4 years older than I am, was always just constantly working. She was a straight A student, but, always worked harder to learn more. And I'm like, well, I better keep up. So, and I also found that, like, no, how do I put this? You are the person who's in charge of your destiny, and no one is going to hold your hand and walk you through life. You may have support and all that, but I'm talking about if you really want to accomplish something for yourself, you have to do it for yourself. And I realized that early on. I have to practice. I have to work hard. I have to be focused. I have to have my motivations clear, and I think that results in working pretty hard to try to achieve something.
What have been your motivations? Because they clearly drive you to do a lot.
Yeah, I think some of them are conscious and some of them are subconscious. Like one of the things I've realized over the years is maybe one of the subconscious motivations is making my mom proud. Like I lost her when I was so young, but maybe the reason that I've wanted to achieve so much was that she would have been proud of me. I think that's a big part of it. As far as conscious motivation, I like the idea of making a change that is positive, whether that be in the world of music or in the world of society, however big, however small. I like to think that maybe something I could do could play a small part in moving the needle forward in terms of, how people are treated or how people are loved, and that's important to me. And those things come as a result of hard work.
I've no doubt that your mum would be so proud of you. And I think we see that your dad is so proud of you. On your social media, you shared a video. And I think of him as, he's like from the generation of the original crooners, He would love that you as his son can be his very own personal crooner. But he just seemed to have such delight as he watched you play on this, keyboard on a dining table and just bring him joy. Like, what a gift.
Well, listen, he's a gift to me. And I think that's another one of my motivations is, I still seek my dad's approval out. I mean, I really do. Like when I finished this album, I played it for him. I put on, headphones on him and I played him the songs. And I remember I played all the instruments on this album and sang all of the vocals. So he would say, "Hey, who's playing trumpet on that?" I said, "That's me, Pop." He said, "That's pretty good." He said, wait, who's playing guitar?" I said, "That's me, Pop." He goes, "That's pretty good." So when he finished listening to all the songs, he's like, he took it off. He goes, "Yeah, this is a good record." I'm like, like yes. His opinion still really matters to me.
It is just remarkable. I encourage everyone to listen and yes, realize that you played and sung everything, because that is just phenomenal that you're able to do that. But as a dad yourself, family is clearly very important to you. You're a very proud dad of 3 daughters. As a father of daughters, what do you feel like your role is in their life?
It's constantly changing. I think, for the first part of their lives, we had a very clear role to love them, to teach them values that were important to us, and to try to empower them to understand the reality that they are remarkable individuals with the potential to live, happy and fulfilled lives. And now as I'm older, as their father, all of those wishes have come true. I mean, all 3 of our children are adults now, and we have these 3 absolutely incredible adult women that we're proud to call our daughters. And I'm of the belief that if they need me for guidance or counsel or anything, I'm here. But it's really important for me to let them know that they're going to figure things out. They're going to make mistakes. I'm here for them if they need me. But it's incredible. We talk about that a lot, about how my role has changed and will continue to change. I mean, one day they're going to meet their partners for the rest of their life, and that person is going to become the center of their world, and I make them feel guilty about it all the time. Like, hey, don't forget about me. And I know they won't, but hopefully I will always be a source of love and guidance for them if I can be.
Do you mind that your role in their life is changing? Are you handling that transition all right?
Yeah, in fact, I think it's important for them to know that I am, because I've never been this guy who's like, get the shotgun, because from a very early age, they've known that they're going to make their own decisions, and I'm not going to run in there and save them. Obviously, if they're walking into oncoming traffic, I'll save them. But they're strong. My daughters are strong, and they know that I'm okay. I think they're going to have enough burdens in life without thinking of me as somebody who's clinging on to the past. As a parent, I have to adapt, I have to learn, and I have to accept the women that they become, which is an honor. And yeah, it's different. They're not 8 years old anymore, but I had that time 3 times over, and I'm just looking forward to the next chapter.
And as young adult women, they're growing up, or really leading, I suppose, a world now where, as we've mentioned, there's so much noise and there's these really challenging social moments happening. What is the advice that you give them on how to navigate the noise and chaos of this time in history?
I'm honestly not a big advice giver. If they do come to me and ask me my opinions, as well as Jill's, but look, I'll give you a perfect example. They're horrified at what's going on down in Miami right now. They see all of these people on spring break, and not really showing a lot of regard for, other people. But they don't need me to chime in every minute on what I think they should do.
Right.
They know what's right and wrong. And I have to be careful. I mean, I have to sort of frame that in the context of I'm ever present for them. But I try to avoid saying things like, well, you should do this or you should have done that, because they know the answers to that. So as long as they're safe and making intelligent decisions, they're going to be okay. And I think it's important to make mistakes along the way.
Yeah, if you've raised them with the basic capacity to make good decisions, then hopefully they just follow in those kind of footsteps. And being that family and faith are two of the things that are real priorities for you, how do you keep them the main thing and not get distracted in everything that would be demanding your attention as an artist and as a performer?
Because they are the main thing. It's like there's certain things that are just a part of your life, like eating, sleeping, loving, family, faith. Those are all, everything else is secondary to that. If I didn't have my family, I have nothing. I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd be the most miserable person on the planet, and it's the same thing for my faith. Like, my faith really helps me. And I would hope that people, hear that and respect that. It's what works for me. And, sometimes there are, schedule conflicts, but I mean, nothing really gets in the way of the really important stuff, because those things don't tie me down. Those things kind of allow me to fly, sometimes a friend of mine said, I'm never going to get married because it's going to tie me down. I said, oh my goodness, it's quite the contrary of that. Because if you meet your best friend and you dedicate your life to making that person the happiest that they can be, that's the most liberating feeling in the world.
When you met your wife, Jill, did you know that she was the one?
I knew that I would like for her to be the one, but it was like there was no chance that she was going to say yes. I mean, and you know what's crazy is I found out probably years later that she told her mother the day that we met that I was the guy she was going to marry.
Wow.
This is why women are smarter than men, because she didn't tell me that. So I had to work so hard. And oh man, I don't know. I would have worked hard anyway, but I
That's
wish I had known that.
fantastic. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
And I think at the time as well, you guys would have read like the perfect kind of Hollywood couple, you know, the Victoria's Secret supermodel and the crooner. Like it would have been the front page magazine kind of spread, but you've really taken it beyond that superficial kind of story and created this beautiful life together and a rich family. What is it that you think has made that work for you guys when for so many other kind of quote unquote Hollywood couples, it doesn't always work out like that?
Well, I mean, I guess you could frame it like that, but I mean, a lot of marriages work out that are in Hollywood, and a lot of marriages don't work out that aren't. You know, I love my wife; she loves me, and there's no secret to it. We both take it seriously. I didn't want to get married multiple times. I mean, but I was very lucky in that I met this incredible woman that is my best friend, and it's important to me. You know, like I think, for me, you have to make decisions in life. What's important? You know, you can't have everything you want. So what are the things that you really want? Well, what I wanted the most was my family life.
Yeah.
So and everything, I don't know, for me, that if that part of my life's in order, everything else is cool.
And it seems that even though you've said no to some stuff, what you have been left with and what you have chosen has just been amazing. And I think at 53 or thereabouts, you've lived a lot of life, you've learned a lot. Would you say that you're happy with where you are right now in life?
I'm so happy. I think life is going to bring you all sorts of things, great joys, great pain. I'm no exception to that. But I think where I am as a result of the decisions I've made is a place that I could only dream about being. I have Jill with me now for 31 years. I have 3 unbelievable daughters. I have an incredible family. I get to make music for a living. I get to make movies and Broadway. Man, I'm so grateful. I count my blessings every day.
It's just incredible. And I think it will give you a lot of, I suppose, vision for what's going to come after last year changed so much for so many people. How do you think your perspective maybe will have changed from last year going back into hopefully a version of normal that comes back to us? Will last year have impacted the way you approach that?
I think so. Like, I think I might spend a little bit more time making art that is deeply personal to me, as opposed to like music for the sake of displaying my musicianship. I found that this album touched people in a way that other albums I've done haven't, because it was like a personal experience that we've all shared. It kind of struck a note on a deeper level, and I like that feeling. I really, really do. I like being connected to people, and I think I may look for that more in the future.
Do you feel like you get more permission to be vulnerable like that and to share more of who you are as you get older, or did you have that same opportunity when you were a younger artist?
I don't think I was ready to reveal myself in that way when I was younger, for lots of reasons. I was too distracted by the idea of being a performer and an entertainer. And I wasn't ready to talk about some of the things I'm ready to talk about now. Like, I used to walk out of interviews if somebody even asked me about my mother. It was not a question to ask. I couldn't handle it for years. I mean, into my 30s, I said, please don't talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. But I've had a lot of time to process it and think about it and understand the intent of the folks who were asking me those questions. And I think a lot of where I am now is a result of being older, and constantly want to improve at my craft, but also being a little bit wiser, a little bit more, not any less impulsive or spontaneous, but just the scope of my maturity, I think, has broadened. So it can handle all of that now. It can handle spontaneity and impulsivity, but it can also handle, revealing more of who I am as a person.
Well, I'm very grateful for that. And I think there's a lot of artists and even people on a personal level who go through anything in life. When you've lived a lot of experience, what would your advice be to others? I know you've said you're not an advice giver, but we'll see what you think on this of how to know when you are ready to share your personal story, whether that's as an artist or just someone who's gone through stuff. How do you know when you are ready to be more vulnerable?
Well, it's the same feeling I have about tattoos. Like if my kids say, "Hey, I want to get a tattoo," I'll say something like, "I don't have anything against tattoos, but like if they're 14 and asking me for a tattoo, I'm like, well, let's think about it for a while. Let's see how we feel, this time next year." Because I've been around people who reveal a lot about themselves and regret it, because it's very difficult to consider the consequences of talking about very personal things in real time, because the therapy of talking about it sometimes can surpass any potential consequence. So when the dust settles down, sometimes you may have a feeling of remorse or guilt about sharing something that you maybe didn't wish to share. So this is my belief. I think for everyone, they should give themselves a minute to think about what they're about to reveal before they reveal it. That doesn't preclude them from revealing it. Just give yourself a little time. That's my way of doing it. That doesn't mean everybody should do it like that. But I'm glad that I have revealed the things I choose to reveal in the time that was right for me,
Yeah, well, it's been an absolute privilege to talk to you, and Alone with My Faith is such a fantastic album, and I will say there's a couple of songs I really enjoyed because they kind of sound like the end of church, everyone's left, they've called you up onto the keyboard, and you're kind of having a play, and it's kind of got this like boozy jazz feel, but non-alcoholic wine, of course.
Yeah, I'm about to say, at church, what do you mean boozy? What kind of church do you go to?
Yeah, crazy one. No, but it just has such a fun, authentic feel to it. So thank you for sharing so much of yourself, and thank you for your time today as well.
You're fantastic, and I appreciate your time. I look forward to the next one.